Dylan, how are we doing? Welcome to the Tier 1 Coaching Podcast, mate. This is obviously just a catch up, a good chat. It's good to see you again, mate, looking so well. And I just want to find out a little bit more about your journey going on the All-Iron Commander course, mate. So, mate, from Royal Navy to earning your very own Green Beret, Royal Navy Commander now. How does it feel, mate?
Feels great. Like obviously it's a long time coming. Obviously getting with yourself so many years ago, and then it's been like a lifelong goal, even before that, like as a young kid, and then finally kind of earning it. It's like all the pressure off your shoulders.
Yeah, mate, awesome. Going back, actually, I know we were speaking about it before jumping on, but just tell me about when we actually first started working together and how that came around and what we were working towards, mate.
Well, it was one of them. I kind of seen you promoting your brand, and I was like, oh, that looks really good. Like seeing you develop it from the start, hearing like you was a Royal Marine PCI, and I was like, you can't get any better than that. I tried like all the programs in the past through like different people, like 6 week training programs, and like googling what to do in the gym. And I was like, look, at first I'm just gonna get with you, get myself back to a decent standard after being away at sea for a while, and then see kind of where it went from there.
Yeah, mate, class. You were literally one of our first clients, mate, 4 years ago now. And I remember you jumped on and it was literally, we were just training to get fit, right? I knew the
Yeah.
All-Round Commander course was there in the back of your mind, but, from where we were there to where we are now, mate, it's two different versions, mate. So it's been class to see that from my side as well. For everyone that doesn't know you, mate, tell us, who is Dylan? Give us a little
Oh,
background to you, mate, how long you've been serving for. Yeah, give us a back brief, mate.
well, so finished school at 16, and I was like, I want to join the Navy. Want to kind of go into the military. I always knew from a young age wanted to go into the military, and I was like, well, what do I do? And I was like, I enjoy drill. I enjoy like shooting. I was like, I want to go to the Navy. I went spoke to the careers office. It was like, right, this is a process. 6 months later, I was in the Navy, basic training at 16. Um, Probably a bit of a wild card. I was like, got through Navy training by the skin of my teeth, and then 8 years in, I did 3 deployments to the Middle East, doing like boarding operations and going through the Strait of Hormuz. Um, I went away, did like a submarine hunting with another ship. Worked down at like a phase 1 establishment for a little bit as like a mentor. After I promoted, then went to be a drill instructor down at HMS Raleigh, and then fast forwards, here we are now, complete the All Arms Commando course, finish in December, and at the moment back at phase 1 teaching for now.
Awesome, mate. It's like honestly, in those years, you boxed off so much, and a lot more than a lot of people have in your time in your career, mate. So it's great to see, great to hear. I'm big on having a why. I'm big on that. If you've got a strong why, it's all about connecting your why to your how, and that's when the needle moves forward. So tell me your why. What stood out for you on wanting to take yourself out of the space of comfort and do the all-round commander course?
I think it goes back to kind of a young age. Uh, a lot of people don't really agree with this, but I was 10 years old, and I remember going to like a fair, and I seen that the cadets was like advertising, and I was like, oh, cool, I want to do that. I was 9 years old at the time, I think, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. There's like, you've got to wait till you're 10. I was finally 10. I went there, and I was like, right, I want to be the best kind of like junior cadet you could be. Always made sure my boots were polished. Made sure I remember going to like the army surpluses, getting like all my kit that I needed for the parade evenings. Sitting in the evenings polishing my shoes for 10, 11 hours at night, making sure it was shiny. And then it kind of a couple of years after that, I then promoted into like the the normal mainstream cadet kind of thing. Was a sea cadet at the time, and then I come across like the Royal Marine Cadets, and I was like, oh, that's a bit of me. I want to kind of progress further, and that's when I found out what the Green Beret was and what it was all about. Um, Kind of got to learn a bit about the Royal Marines, a little bit of the Navy, and I was like, right, what kind of route do I want to go down? And at the time, I was like, I want to kind of have a career where I can dictate what I do, and I was like, right, I'm going to join the Navy. I spoke to the careers office, and it was kind of like a hard decision, like what route do I go down? Career office was like, right, these are your options. If you go down this route, this is what your kind of life will look like. If you go down this route, this is what you can kind of look like. Fast forward to 16, join the Navy, and I was enjoying life. I was going away. I was getting deployments under my belt. Um, but there was always like in the back of my head, it was like I want to do more here. I want to stand out. I want to be a little bit better. Um, and I remember walking around and I was seeing loads of only a couple. I was seeing a few people with like green berets on their heads, and I was like, I want to be like him. And I got talking to someone when I was at HMS Collingwood, and he was like, you can go on the All Arms Commando course, and I was like, what's that? And he was like, well, it's like a 16-week course, and I was like, I want to get onto that. Kept asking the question, going on to ships, going on to different bases, and there was like, oh, you can't go there yet, you can't do that course. Yeah, and fast forward 8 years, I've finally managed to get the opportunity to go on it, and there was no coming off. Then that was the way I wanted to go, and this is what I wanted to achieve. It was always in the back of my mind, and that's what I was going to do.
Sick. And what was that turning point? What was that decision that made you go all in and then invest in yourself and join us here on the Tillman Pathway?
It was I was going away. I was coming back, and I couldn't really like choose what foods I was eating because I was eating the food that the ships provided, and I was finding myself happening. I was going to the NAFI, getting as much food as possible, and just sitting in the mess eating like rubbish. And I was doing these 6-week programs that I seen online or googling how to get bigger biceps, and I was like, this is what I was doing this for a while, and I was like, if I want to be serious about this, I need to kind of invest in myself, and that's when I come across yourself. And then I remember jumping on, and we hadn't even started the actual programming at this stage, and then I was going to China Fleet, doing my usual, sitting in the sauna, and then going to the gym, sitting in the sauna, and then going to go fill all the calories that I'd burnt in the gym back in the restaurant at China
Yeah.
Fleet. And I remember seeing you, and then that was kind of the turning point. Then it was like, well, I want to achieve this. I need to proper invest in it now and kind of go all in.
Mate, crazy that, isn't it? I'm a true believer of like everything happens for a reason, and how we, got speaking, and then 2 weeks later we were in China Fleet together, not knowing that we were going to be there at the same time, and then next minute you're on the pathway, and we're here today. Mate, everything is aligned, and I think that's just look, at that goal, and look where we are today, sitting there with your Green Beret, mate. It's genuinely, it's been a class to see, like I said from the start. Where were you physically and mentally before you jumped on?
Physically, I was worrying about even the mile and a half, even being able to do the press ups, and mentally kind of putting it on such a high pedestal. It was kind of like, well, mentally not there, not really understanding how mentally taxing it was going to be on the body. Not being in that that uncomfort zone as such. And then like physically, I could run a little bit, probably not at all as much as I was supposed to have been able to, but I kind of jumped on with you, and I was smashing myself with fizz probably for about 2 weeks at a time, and then I would just wrap. I'd do like 2 weeks where I would do like 2 sessions a day. I'd go to like circuits on board ships, so I'd go to like the gym group, and I'd go to like their circuits in the mornings or double tap them, and I'd just burn myself out after 2 weeks. And then when I kind of initially joined the program, I was like, oh, I've only got to train 5 times a week, or I've only got to train 6 times a week. And it was kind of a bit alien to me. I was like, I'm not going to be ready for this. I've been doing more training than this, but it kind of slowly trusted the process, and the more went on, I trusted it more and more. And I was like, well, my mind and I was going down. First, I mean, when I first did it, it was like 13 minutes, and then it went to 11 and a half minutes a couple of weeks later. And then from there, it went down and down and down. And then we was getting sub 10 minutes. And it was like, I've never seen this in years of training.
Yeah. Yeah. Mate, it's the big thing I always hear. Everyone goes, "What? I only need to train once a day." Yeah, that's what you need to do, because when you get the right structure and the right training and the right program and systems behind you, that's the point of it. There's no point of burning yourself out before you go on these courses. And as you said there, it's like, well, I'm doing less, but getting more out of it.
Yeah.
It's the system works, right? The system works, mate. I guess on that, what was the biggest gap between where you were at the time and where you needed to be? What do you think that was, mate?
So initially, how I kind of looked at it was, right, you've got the test, you've got 2 mile and a half in boots, you've got press ups, sit ups, and pull ups. And what I didn't realise, there was a lot more to it. Like, it wasn't about the press ups, it wasn't about the sit ups, it wasn't about the 1.5 mile run. They was just like the entry standards. And how I kind of looked at it was, right, if I can hit a 1.5 miles in sub 11:30, I'm going to be in a good place. And that wasn't the case. And I think where I needed to be physically was, one, robust in the legs, robust in the core, um, and mentally understanding the kind of pressures that I'd be under for that entire kind of course. And when you started that pipeline, there's no switching off, and you can't go back and redo any training or prep that you was going to do before the course. As soon as you hit day one, week one, that's you in there then for the full pipeline until you kind of do your 30 miler. And I think I kind of overlooked how long the course was going to be, how long the days were going to be, and yeah,
It's about turning up strong and robust, right? Like not peaking
every day,
too soon.
every day.
Yeah. And
Turning
mate,
up
what
was
was
the
it
main one.
about? Say again, mate.
Turning up was the main one every day, just
Yeah,
being able to turn up.
mate. And with that, work with Matty Kirkbright, phenomenal coach, right? But what was the biggest takeaways of working with him and the entire team, mate? What was the difference that you believe truly made the difference?
I think it was trust. I think so. I seen you posted about you got new information coming, and I was waiting. What's this new information going to be? I was constantly following the page, refreshing your Instagram, and I was like, "What's this exciting news that's going to be?" And you said that you've got the old chief instructor of the All Arms Commando course, and I was like, if you can't get better than a Royal Marine PCI, the person who ran the course, you can't get better than that. And I was like, this is,
Yeah,
I need a bit of that. And that's when I reached out again for I think that was the third time maybe, and I was like, I need to jump back on, because I'd had a date at this time. I was on the August course, and I was like, I need all the training that I can get. And I was like,
yeah,
that's it. And Matty's been great. Every week was checking in. He knew what stage of the course I'd be at, and how he structured the training program as well was insane, because I'd done all the tests that I needed to do already without even realizing, like the 8 mile CFT. I'd already done that plenty of times beforehand, so I knew when I got there I could do it. It was achievable. The speed marching, I'd done all that prior to actually even stepping foot into Limpston or into Barnstable.
yeah, mate. It's about training smart, right? You didn't know what you were doing while you were doing it. You just did it. And with the experience of Matty, having taken that course from himself, like you said, you go down there, then the test comes round. You've already got the mindset shift and the confidence to do it. And I mean, on the mindset, I know you tuned into Chris's sessions, our mental performance coach in the pathway as well. You were always on those. What was? Tell me more about that. How did that help?
So sat in quite a lot of them, and when I sat into him, and I just had more questions about it. Every time he did a seminar, I'd listen and I'd be like, oh, I've got more questions for you. I was probably annoying him at one stage because I was asking so many
No, mate, it's
questions.
good.
I was like, I need to know the answers to this. And uh, the kind of stuff that he provided was a game changer, like little mental cues that you could give yourself to keep going, and uh, things not to quit. And I remember him saying something. He goes, "You're gonna choose." He goes, "You're gonna choose to fail, um, or you're gonna pass." And I was like, "Oh, I don't get it. Are you gonna choose?" And it was true. The amount of times you was going through the course, and you're like, "Well, I can rap now. I could happily just go. Right, I'm finished." But it's me choosing to fail, or if I don't choose to fail, I'll pass. And the going through failure, I had a lot of setbacks on the course, and just sitting there listening back to things that he had said and watching some videos online, and it massively helped kind of mentally to keep going, especially when I failed the Tarzan on test week, and I had to then continue on to 30 miler, not knowing that or knowing at the end of the 30 mile I wasn't going to get my Green Beret, and knowing that 2 days later, after 30 miles later, I'm going to have to redo a 13-minute test, not knowing what the weather is going to be like, not knowing kind of how my body's going to be feeling, because I've never run 30 miles in my life. I just had to keep going, and massive difference by just taking on board a couple of sessions that I did with him and listening in.
Yeah, mate. And not only that, I know you're being quite modest here, but what happened on your 30 miler, mate? Tell me a little bit about that, and what was confirmed after you got your Green Beret and complete the commando course.
Well, so did Tarzan, and I was 40 seconds off. I think it was 40 seconds off. Um, moved on to 30 miler, not really knowing how I was going to be feeling. I thought it's the last test. It's 30 miles, 8 hours. It's going to be okay. People do marathons quicker. I was like, it's not going to be hard. So stepped off, and within that first mile, I realised how wrong I was going to be, and not even at the top of the first hill. And I was like, I'm not getting through this. But I just put one foot in front of the other. I remember rolling my ankle a couple of times, and I was like 24, 25 miles in, and the pain didn't get any better. And I was like, I just got to get to the end of this. And you're hearing on the radio, that's because I was at the front, because I kept dropping for the last 12 miles. I was at the back, back 300 meters behind. I managed to get, after mile 12, I managed to get to the front and try and stay at the front. And he was hearing on the radio how people was dropping back, and he was hearing he's 300 meters back, 400 meters back, and he was hearing how the staff was saying, we don't think this guy's going to make it. And it was all the people that had kind of come off Tarzan. I think mentally it got to them that they've got to get through 30 miler, and you was hearing that they was off the 30 miler, and you knew that was kind of the end of their journey. And I was like, I'm not ready to quit yet. I need to at least get through the 30 miler, and worry about Tarzan after. Got through 30 miler, stood at the flank, where everyone got the green lids, and then obviously fast forwards a couple of weeks later, I went and got an X-ray, realised that my ankle was fractured. I was still pushing through it. I was trying to go for runs after, and I was like, it's not working. I was getting pain in my foot. I was getting pain everywhere. Was in physio, and he was like, you need to recover. 9 weeks later, it's finally healed, and I got an X-ray to confirm it's healed. But yeah,
Hey, for those that don't know, that quite understand that, so finished 30 miler, obviously didn't wasn't successful the first time, just missed out. But even with a fractured ankle, over the line the 30 miler, back for the Tarzan assault course rerun, and still got through, mate. Big respect for that. Let's talk about not quitting. Here at Tier 1 Coaching, we're all about our statement, our slogan is winners never quit. So was there a moment, and I know you just again, elaborate on it, but was there a moment that you thought about quitting? I know you said about the 30 miler. Was there a moment before that?
there was a lot. There's a lot. So
Yeah.
I think even I remember doing a week like not aptitude. It's like an acquaint week for the actual beat up itself. And I was like, right, this is what I've got to expect. I know this is the test. We went through the CFT route. I was like, right, I know exactly what to expect on the first week of beat up. I went to beat up, and I think the weight was slightly heavier on the CFT. And I remember kind of putting the Bergen on. This is heavy. And before we'd even got out the gates of Shivna, um, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I remember looking over to one of the other lads who was also one of the tier 1, and he was like, we've got this. And I think he just put his hand on my shoulder, and he was like, we've got this. And we kind of give me a bit of motivation to get through. Got through that, and it was just a tick off, really. I think every kind of session, every kind of test that you do, it was kind of like a tick off. And I was like, right, I just need to keep ticking things off. Got through beat up, then got to Limpston. Same thing again. It was just a tick off, another CFT. Right, I've just got to tick this off. I've already done one 5 weeks ago. I've just got to do one again, and then 4 mile speed march, tick off. And it was just hitting kind of like each exercise, each test, each kind of every day was just a tick off. I remember getting to the 6 mile speed march, and I thought, like, the 4 mile speed march was pretty bookshy, and I've just got to do an extra 2 miles. I felt fine after the 4 mile one, and the pace seemed to be a lot quicker. The route was a lot harder. We started running up hills, which I thought would have been we walked up on the 4 mile, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna get through this. And I think 2 miles into the 6 mile speed march, I was off, and I was like, this is the end. I remember messaging yourself, and I was like, the 6 mile speed march was unsuccessful. I've got a retest, but then I think the day after we had uh, we had a 13 mile day or a 14 mile day. It was we had to do an endurance run through intro. We had to do another Tarzan run through, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to manage this in a couple of days' time. Um, and he sent me a video link, and I remember watching that video. He was like, watch it tonight, watch it again in the morning, and go smash it, and let me know when you've passed it. And before I'd even finished the 6 mile, he'd always sent me a voice note saying, I know you've done it. Um, yeah, I got through that, and again, it was a tick off again, but it still wasn't over. I still had endurance, I still had Tarzan, I still had all these different tests to get through. Um, and it was just ticking things off. I was like, I've done this, I've got this far. Can I get to that week 5 rejoin? Can I get to this stage? Can I get past this exercise or this yomp? And it was just ticking things off.
Yeah, mate, class. That video is Eric Thomas. How bad you want it? Class. I use it a lot on my PTI course. I use it a lot during my training days, mate. I think it's an absolute winning video. So that I know the fuel it would give me, and I knew that would be reciprocated on you, mate. So it did, mate. So it's great to see. What really made you stay in the fight for those moments where you thought about quitting?
It was going back. I knew that if I quit, I'd have to go back to my unit and say, I've give it all. I want to go on this course. I want to do this. I remember all the amount of times I was asking to go on the course, and I was like, I really want to do this. I want to do this course. And I even remember some of my bosses saying, you're deluded. You're not going to be able to do that course. And it was just like, I've got to prove all these people wrong. I've got to get through the course. And I don't want to come back and do the course twice either. I want to get through it first time and not have to worry about it again. And it was just getting through it. It was.
Yeah, mate. Did it help with you had 2 other guys off from the tier 1 pathway? Obviously, you've been in the community together, around training around like-minded individuals, and 3 of you were on that course. Did that play a part of going on the course together and being able to
Yeah,
lean on each other?
massively. I think we was in a group chat with Matty, and we was putting like our rope climbs in there. And I think we first met on PCPA. No, it wasn't PCPA. We first met on the Quaint Week, and we kind of like put kind of messages to faces. It was like, right, we knew who each other was, and we kind of looked out for each other for the whole course. And it was every time people was dropping off, and we was looking at each other. It was like, we're still here, we're still going, and we kind of knew that the proof was in the pudding. We were all still there, getting through it.
Yeah, yeah, sick, mate. And mate, what's changed for you now? Life, purpose, career path. What doors has this opened for you now, mate?
Well, in terms of doors, working with commando forces, obviously that's the whole point of the course, and actually being able to work with them and toe to toe with them, and kind of like you prove that you've earned your space to work with them, kind of thing. And in terms of like actually completing the course, like you don't really understand. It's a truth. Like you don't understand your body can go a lot further than you think it can, and like mile 1 of 30 mile, I always remember I'm not going to complete this, and 30 miles later I was at the end of it. And it's just molded the way you look at every kind of like day-to-day opportunities that come arising.
Yeah, growth starts where comfort ends, right?
Yeah, yeah, big time.
mate mate let's go into a rapid fire. Okay, I'm going to fire a few questions at you. No thought needed. Let's just hit it off, mate, and respond on answer as we go, mate. Okay, so one thing you wish you started sooner.
It's got to be the mobility and the structure, just understanding how you need to train for the course and for everything.
One habit that made the biggest difference for you.
Showing up, yeah. Just being able to turn up every single day with a smile on your face and just do whatever tasks at hand.
Hardest moment, preparation or on course?
It's got to be on course, but the preparation for it was good, so I kind of felt good throughout the course.
Yeah, and what was the hardest moment on course?
It got to be. There's two. There's probably two. It was at the end of 6 mile speed march, not getting your cat comfort, and I was like, I can't be in this situation again. And then a couple of weeks later, being in the same situation, everyone's getting the green lids, and I'm at the back, and I was like, it's got to be the hardest part when people are succeeding, and you want to feel happy for them, but you're like, that could have been me. I need to cut, and that would probably say the hardest part on course was that.
Best moment on course?
Being at the end of Tarzan, I just got up the 30-foot wall, and absolutely blowing. Actually, being given my green lid after that, it's got to be the hardest part. Probably the best part, of course.
Yeah, and advice for anyone preparing for an arduous military course. What would you say to them?
Take out the thinking. Get yourself with tier 1. I think if you don't have to worry about thinking, this is kind of like they'll deal with all the kind of stuff for you. All you've got to do is show up and attend each session and kind of give your best. Not give your best, but kind of get through each session and leave the prep work to them and the people who know what they're gonna do, what they've got to do. Like,
sick, mate. And biggest lesson from this journey. What was your biggest takeaway?
biggest takeaway, going back to what I said, I think biggest takeaway was your mind can go 10 times further than what your body can go. Well, it's the wrong way around. Your body can go 10 times further than your mind. Like, just not listening to your mind and just getting through it. Like, your body will drag itself along as long as you push yourself and don't give up.
Winners never quit. It's a mindset, right?
Yeah.
Mate, if someone's listening to this right now and they don't quite believe in themselves yet, but they've got that want, they've got that why, they've got that desire, what would you tell them?
I think you've just got to give it a go. I think you don't really, and you're never going to believe in yourself until you've put yourself into an uncomfortable zone and you experience what uncomfort is. You can't really push yourself on your own, but when you're getting pushed, you'll start to believe yourself as you tick things off. You'll pass a test, or you'll pass certain elements of tests, and you'll get more belief the more you do it. And I think that's what you just got to keep going forwards. I remember one of our friends said to me, I said to him before the course, "Have you got any tips?" And he was like, "Don't rap." And I was like, oh, "Brilliant." "You got any more tips?" He's like, "Just don't rap." And all the yomps that we was doing, every test, I was just thinking, that makes sense now. Just don't rap. Just get through it.
Yeah, mate. And if you had, if someone was on the fence, they were considering about joining the tier 1 pathway, but they weren't, they were dipping a toe, they hadn't committed yet. What would you say to them, mate?
I think you've got to look. I think you've got to look at the results. I think pictures paint 1,000 words. You've look at the results that have happened. Look at the people who have passed the courses, and I think that kind of speaks for itself. It's a no-brainer, really, to kind of jump in and go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, mate. Appreciate you. And what's next for you, Dylan? What have you got on now, mate?
So next for me, I've started to build myself back up now. I want to look at getting into a sport. Obviously, Winter Olympics is on at the moment. I've been watching the skeleton. I want to kind of push myself now down that route and see kind of where life takes me. Hopefully,
Yeah.
push down that route and see where I end up. If it works, it works. If not, we'll move on to another sport and just keep trying sports until someone takes me.
Yeah, class, mate. I love it. You're always striving for more, mate, and it's great to see. Mate, is there anything that you want to add to this podcast that we've not spoken about? Anything you want to say, mate? The floor is yours, buddy.
I think you just got to go for it. I think anyone who's thinking, do I go for tier one? You've got to make that investment into yourself, and I think you're not really going to understand how much it'll do for you until you put that investment in and see what results come from it. Anyone can go and beast themselves, but 2 weeks later you burn out. I tried all the free 6-week programs that are online, and I got even the paid program. I was paying people £20 to get a program, and I was at the end of it. I was like, I'm no fitter. I thought I'm gonna get abs in two. I'm gonna get abs in 2 weeks. I was gonna get abs in 2 weeks. I was eating 2 minutes chocolate bars, but yeah, you've got you've just got to invest in yourself, I think, and you'll get where you want.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I always say that the biggest and best investment you'll ever make is the one you're making yourself, right?
100%.
And as you've said here, mate. Look, Dylan, you know, big respect, you know, for jumping on and sharing your journey. You know, from having a really strong why to jumping on here and earning the how and working amongst the team, mate. Genuinely, from the very start to now, it's been a pleasure to watch, pleasure to see, mate, and I appreciate you for trusting the process and trusting us. And you know, I'm buzzing that you're sitting here with your very own green lid now, and it's genuinely been great to witness and great to see, mate. So appreciate you, and who knows, we might have you back on again, chasing some new idea, big goal. But mate, appreciate the time. All the best, buddy.
Thank you
And
very much.
no doubt we'll catch up again soon, buddy.
100%. Thank you.
Top man. 2 secs. I will stop that.